So recently I watched the trailer for this anime called This is so cool. This is exactly the vibe I was looking for. It's gonna be so much fun. Yeah, I was wrong. Have you ever been completely in love with someone from the first sight? And I mean completely in love. The kind where you tell all your friends how wonderful they are. But then time happens. And you gradually realize that they were not as great as you thought they once were. And you grow apart. However, every now and then you get a spark. A spark that reignites your love for that person and reminds you why you once loved them, and it's a wonderful feeling. That's pretty much explains my relationship with fantasy anime. They are the reason I started watching anime for the first time. But the more I grew up, the more I realized, well, that shit was ass. Or maybe they are just getting worse, because ever since the fantasy RPG video games erupted in popularity, every fantasy anime has been trying to put their own twist on those RPG elements without trying to come up with anything new or pushing the concept further. You've got a hero trying to defeat the Demon King, staple party members, word with magic spells, classes, skills, mythical creatures. Honestly, I have as much respect for the studios that make this anime as I have for people who don't subscribe to the channel. Yeah, it's you I'm talking about. Subscribe, it's free. And this whole fantasy anime genre gave birth to another subgenre, isekai. So you guessed it, when it comes to fantasy anime, most of them are, what is the word I'm looking for here? Total fucking horseshit. But some of them are not. They are the spark. And specifically the one we are talking about today, which is the brightest spark that happened to me ever, and I consider it the greatest fantasy anime of recent years. The world is threatened by a demon king. A hero party arises and conquer all challenges thrown their way and eventually defeat the demon king and brings peace to the world. Sounds like a story I've heard a million times, right? Well, this time, we don't begin where this hero sets out on his adventure. Instead, we start as his adventure ends. The moment you click play on that first episode, you're like, okay, but then that banger opening song ends and the episode actually starts. And you are greeted with what I can only describe as a breathtaking and captivating fantasy world. The watercolor style makes the backgrounds look like paintings, the greeny visual design makes everything feels nostalgic. You can hear that rhythmic horse clip claps, that ambience music invites you to the world with our main character.
Frieren.
Her easygoing and relaxed manner suggests a woman in whom casualness runs deep. And that's only natural, she's someone who lived for more than 1,000 years. Now remember this, because it's gonna be important in a second. As the hero party is returning to the royal capital after defeating the demon king, we get introduced to the rest of the party members. The hero, warrior, priest, and the mage. The party gathered to celebrate the 10 years journey they just had, but for Frieren, an elf, time had passed like a fleeting whisper. As they reminisce about their journey, they are greeted with a meteor shower that only comes once every 50 years. Inspiring them to make a promise to reunite in that time period and witness the celestial spectacle once more. The following day, they parted ways. Frieren embarked on a journey to deepen her magical knowledge, and the years swiftly passed. Half a century later, she returned to the royal capital, only to find her companions aged and frail, while she remained untouched by time. The heroes' party reunited, determined to fulfill their promise. Their journey took them down memory lane, revisiting the places and stories of their adventure. Eventually, they reached the spot where they can marvel at the era meteors. Beneath those shimmering meteors, the hero passed away. At the funeral, Frieren didn't show any emotion, until she uttered the words that literally broke me.
たった10年一緒に旅しただけだし、なんでもっと知ろうと思わなかったんだろう。
A flood of tears suddenly overcame her. She couldn't fathom why her heart ached so profoundly. In that moment, she realized that it wasn't about the length of time, but the depth of the connection they had shared. I think that is just beautiful. And I didn't mention this earlier, but the whole meteor shower thing was a metaphor that symbolizes how the party members' relationship looked even more clear and beautiful to them after 50 years, and how one of the meteors symbolizing Frieren didn't vanish. It just kept shimmering as the hero says the word. That's just art. It's just peak writing. Now that I've given you a taste of this anime with this snippet from the first episode, you may have an idea why Frieren is different from the rest of fantasy anime. But it's not just different, it's relatable, it's immersive, and it has what I consider one of the deepest quotes about festivals. Yeah, you heard that right. Festivals. So, here's why I think that. Frieren Beyond's journey is the story of an elf who really likes to procrastinate. She's just like me, for real, guys. A day for you is like minutes for Frieren. A year is like a day, and your whole life is like a few years to her. With an abundance of free time such as this, Frieren can't find the motivation to do anything. And that's quite expected. When you have so much of time, how do you find the motivation to make the most of it? And that's exactly why they say death is a bless. The second reason I found this anime relatable is many of us have probably felt slightly what Frieren is going through. A lifetime of 1,000+ years is so unimaginably long for us humans to be able to comprehend. However, when a pet companion passes away, be it a dog, a cat or a hamster, they have much shorter lifespans than most of us. We formed a bond with them. They would be there when we were down or happy, and once they are gone, those moments feel a lot more different. They were not just pets, they were living beings that we made connection with and spend time with. Since we are actually able to feel the time pass us by, we learn the lessons that Frieren is learning over her long lifespan in a much more condensed fashion. Frieren embodies the idea that we often fail to appreciate what we have until it's gone, urging us to seize the day and savor each moment. And this leads to wonderful and fun adventures through the lens and perspective of Frieren. Each time we visit a new village and we discover forgotten pieces of that place, while Frieren is always trying to learn some weird magic spells and getting stuck in every single mimic. However, no matter how lively and adventurous this show is, a ceaseless shadow of time's weight looms. Each time these words appear on the screen, you get this constant reminder that time flows unseasonably. Unwilling to hold for the joyful moments, it whispers its ruthless truth. These characters too shall meet their end, whether by the hand of fate or the unstoppable march of time itself. You can see the world changes as 30 years can pass in a single episode. Time is moving on, and with it brings the eventual nature end of the adventure. And that's exactly what makes Frieren a very unique take on the fantasy genre. Most other fantasy anime fall into either very happy and adventurous or very sad and serious. Frieren, however, is perfectly balanced. It allows the characters to take happiness where they can before facing them with obstacles. And talking about characters, they are the best part of this anime. From the depth of its tale, Frieren blossoms as a character-driven story, where most of the enjoyment comes from the characters themselves. I'm gonna let you on something that a lot of people don't know. Each character name carries a special meaning in German that reflects the personality of that character. And the amount of care that was put into writing these authentic characters is unbelievable. Each character is unique in its own way. Himmel, the hero, only lives on through flashbacks, and yet he feels like a long-lost friend you never had. And it's not just me who felt that way. He already ranked #1 in popularity poll, while the main character, Frieren, ranked 2nd. And if all these characters fail to immerse you in this world, the music will. It's like a symphony of emotions perfectly choreographed to every scene. The melodies are catchy, haunting, and downright unforgettable, adding layers of depth and beauty to every scene. You remember how I said the characters are the best part of this anime? I was actually lying there, because the music is the best part of this anime. And here's something funny that happened when I was researching for this video. I looked through my notes and I saw I had written, "Dude, Frieren voice actress." Now, listen to this.
人間の寿命は短いって分かっていたのに。
Now listen to this. That's the fucking same voice actress. How? I don't fucking know. The voice actors perfectly brought the characters to life in such a way that every emotion, every nuance is conveyed with precision. But what truly amplifies their performance is the strength of the dialogue itself. It's powerful, it's thought-provoking, and it's very engaging. And yet, there is so little of it. The show doesn't consider you stupid, unlike a lot of the other shows where they spoon-feed you every detail just to keep you watching. You simply watch Frieren because it's an engaging story. It gives you the chance to use your 2 brain cells to understand the subtlety behind each scene, each expression, each tear. For example, there is this scene where Frieren meets this old man and feel like she have seen him before, and after 20 minutes, we finally get the answer. Frieren remembered the hat. She met him 80 years ago when she was in that village with her party. He's the kid who lifts her skirts. Then when the episode is about to end, we get this scene of Frieren and Fern on the chariot. Did you notice it? He died. If you don't pay attention, you're gonna miss details like this because they never say anything about it. In this visual storytelling meant that when there is actually a dialogue, you pay attention to every single line, trying to understand why this character did this out of character thing. There is no filler dialogue or extra words that are just sitting there, and this gave the show the potential to have so many unforgettable quotes. One of my favorites being in chapter 13. Today is the Liberation Festival. It's the day when the hero party defeated the Demon King. Why don't you come celebrate with us?
Humans love to exaggerate, don't they? They are eager to make festivals out of anything and everything.
It has already been 80 years since the demon was defeated. For us humans, it is more than enough time to forget something completely. Those heroes just want to be remembered. And on this particular day, everyone remembers them. If you don't think that was deep, fuck you. I respect your opinion. So why don't you tell me what's your favorite anime quote? See you in the comment section.